riding back, coming down to the finish. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, this is one stunning picture. Honorary Lee is full out now, second on the outside. It's going to go to the line. 1,000 words has done it.
Just a week away from Breeders' Cup 2022, and as a result, the action really picking up here at Keeneland. Over 20 workers this morning between the dirt and the turf course. I'm Mike Welsch coming to you from Keeneland with the 2022 Daily Racing Form Breeders' Cup Workout Report, brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, home of 2020 Breeders' Cup Classic winner Authentic, whose first weanlings will sell in November. Like I said, a ton of activity, too much to go through every individual horse that worked this morning. I will give some of the highlights, but first let's talk about the Classic, the one that everybody's waiting for. No Classic workers today. Most of that activity's come tomorrow, but just going to go down some of the major players. Flightline back at his usual time this morning, 5:35 out on the racetrack, and back to his usual routine after an easy day yesterday. He was motoring around there again. His assistant trainer and exercise rider, Juan Laver, again had his hands full with him. Final quarter mile, 14 and change, just as usual. And like I said the other day, I asked Juan if you had your hands full today, and he said not just today. That's how he goes every day. And he's scheduled to work tomorrow morning, and there's going to be a big throng on hand to watch that workout, let alone for the race next week, obviously. But the workout is going to draw a lot of attention, and so too will the workout of Life is Good, who is also going to work tomorrow. Now, he had a very easy day today, galloped just about a mile, almost barely out of an open canter this morning, going very slow. Same with Hot Rod Charlie, though. Both of them kind of in maintenance gallop mode today with their big work schedule tomorrow. Can understand that. And Rich Strike, he also went out early this morning, 5:30, and he did not go to the track yesterday, so he was on the muscle today, having missed a day. His rider, too, had all he could do to keep him at a realistic pace. Now, he is not scheduled to work tomorrow. He may not actually even have another Breeders' Cup work. Trainer Eric Reed is going to make that decision. If he thinks he needs to keep him on the ground a little bit, he might blow him out early next week. Going to go through the works this morning, kind of in chronological order. It started at 5:30. Right at 5:30, the tractors were barely off the track when a juvenile filly main contender, Wonder Wheel, worked. And it was kind of a maintenance move. She had a big work last week. It looked terrific last week. And she looked good again this morning. I had her a half mile in 48 and 4, galloped out in 102. So another good morning for Wonder Wheel. She's coming up to the juvenile fillies very well off that game win in the Alcibiades. Mo Stash also worked today. She's in the juvenile turf sprint for a turf horse. She went very well over the main track. She had a target. She broke off about 7 lengths behind her workmate and was about a length in front at the wire, had it 5 furlongs in a minute and 3/5 and galloped out in 14 and 2. And there were 2 of the 3 workers in the dark here before the renovation break. The renovation break after that, still kind of dark at that time. Makes it a little difficult for all of us trying to identify the horses as they get to the polls. The highlights there, the first workers were the Todd Pletcher-trained team of 2-year-olds Forte and Lost Ark. They went well, 48 and 4. Good gallop out, though, 101 and 3 and 114-3. So both of those doing well. And trainer Wayne Catalano worked a couple Breeders' Cup horses this morning, including Manny Wah for the sprint. And sprinters go fast, and so did he. He went 22-4 actually for an opening quarter, eased home in 47 and 2, and then pulled up pretty quickly after the wire. No gallop out time for Manny Wah. After the second renovation break, it was also busy, and Todd Pletcher, part of that group, with the team of Chocolate Gelato and Atomically, the 2 fillies going an easy half at 50. They really walked away from the 8th pole. They went their last 3 ace in 36 and 4, and they were also very good in the gallop out. Really the highlight of this work was the gallop out, 5 ace in 103, 6 furlongs in 15 and 4. So a 13 and a 12-4 around that turn. Pretty good stuff for both those fillies. Chad Brown also had a team out after the second break, Raging Sea and Free Look. Same thing, walked away from the pole, completed 4 furlongs in 48 and 3, but the last 3 ace of it was 35 and 2, and both did it very easily in kind of Chad Brown style. The riders just not letting them or not asking them for their best, and both responded with good works. One other work at the 9 o'clock break over the main track, Slammed, who was going in the Filly and Mass Sprint at Florent Giroux aboard, went in 101 and 3, just okay, I thought. did not finish up as strong as I thought she might. We moved over to the turf. We wound up with 7 Breeders' Cup workers on the turf. The first one was the one everybody was kind of waiting for, a Golden Pal. Before I get to that, I'm going to say, though, the turf course was officially rated as good this morning, but I feel like it was a little south of that. It had a lot of cut to it, and you can tell by the times, too, very far from a firm course this morning, or very far, I think, even from a good course. And the Speedy Golden Pal showed that, going 5 furlongs and 104, did it easily, not asking for much, just kind of stretching his legs over the softer turf course. John Sadler sent out the turf sprint hopeful Brand. He went a little quicker, 48-4 for the half, but they asked him to finish up as opposed to Golden Pal going easily to finish. But it was a good move, I thought, for Brand. Galloped out in 102-4. And the Jonathan Thomas team, they were the last to go, and I thought they might have been the best. Born Dapper and Delight. I'm not sure Born Dapper is going to get into the juvenile fillies turf, but Delight will, and she might be a big factor in there. They absolutely walked the opening quarter in 29, then came home in 23-1 and did it easily, and also galloped out really, really well. I actually talked to Jonathan Thomas afterwards, and he said because of the way the turf was this morning on the softer side, he didn't want to ask him to do too much. He kind of just wanted to gallop around, let him finish up and gallop out, and boy, they were both very good doing that. So that's kind of a recap of what happened this morning. Tomorrow it's going to get even crazier. We had 20 today, probably 30 tomorrow. The main attractions, like I said, Life is Good, Flightline, about 8 Chad Brown Breeders' Cup horses, and a whole bunch more from the Todd Pletcher bond. So we'll be here from 5:30 till everything's over on the turf at 10:30 once again. And you keep it right here. The best coverage, Breeders' Cup 2022 at DRF.com.